Welcome, and congratulations on your recent recruitment. The year is 2020. Since the general election of 2015, the ongoing threat of Islamic extremism has caused mass illegal immigration, leaving the British borders completely overwhelmed. Rates of homelessness, poverty, and crime had been the highest on record. In 2015, UK citizens voted en masse for the United British Resolution Party, whose first priority was to close the border between England and France. Their second priority was to round up and return 90% of illegal immigrants back to their country of origin. Once the plans were in place and the UK had become secure, the UBRP and the rest of Parliament voted unanimously to cut ties with the Middle East. The Middle East thriving tourist industry, perfectly designed for the Western upper echelon, crashed. Qatar, Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE were on the brink of economic collapse. However, Syria, Iraq, Iran, Palestine, Jordan, and Egypt agreed to form the MET, the Middle Eastern Territories, and invited these once flourishing powers to consolidate their financial interests and form a pact. They swiftly formed an exclusive trade agreement with Russia, sending oil reserves in exchange for military-grade weapons. This relationship became known as the Russia-MET coalition. Now, back in 2015, the Middle East owns 66% of the world's oil. That makes up 853 billion barrels. But since tapping up numerous oil reserves in the Sinai Desert, their total rose to 1.3 trillion barrels. The MET armed their new formed state to the rafters and still had enough oil to last them for the rest of the millennia. They became one of the most heavily armed states in world history. Great Britain stands alone as a beacon of hope, an example to the world, the only nation prepared to fight for freedom and defend democracy. Partial conscription became mandatory for people working in the army, the TA, and the territorial police force, and general conscription rose, which increased numbers from 330,000 to a grand total of 15 million troops. With Scotland's adverse weather conditions and varying landscape, the UBRP decided that the best use of the country would be to turn it into a vast military base, used to train and maintain our titanic military forces, leaving the rest of the UK without law enforcement. So, private security contractors were hired to keep the streets safe and Britain running. The future of law enforcement is here.